Okay, I think we'll just get started. You've heard a little bit about the trip during the service, but we thought it would be nice if you had any special questions to ask about the work that we did directly, that we would do that. And Rod has a mic, and since he doesn't want to sing into it, he'll bring it to you. Not well, if you want to sing, but... So anyway, we're just going to get started with... Anson had put together a PowerPoint here that starts from the very beginning of our trip. And then if you have any questions, if you just want to raise your hand, and then Rod will give you the mic. So we started off, I think it was 7:29, but that's okay. We left church here, and our first stop was in Drummondville, Quebec, where we stayed at a Best Western. And for supper that night, we went to a St. Hubert's. Now, when we first got there to the hotel, everybody got their rooms, and everybody got their keys to their rooms. And I don't know, was it 5 minutes, boys? Not even, okay. Donna, we don't have our keys, we're locked out. So I go down to the front reception, and I got another key for them. So, and Jonas reached out his hand to take the key from me, and I just put it in my pocket. And I said, you guys can have 2 keys and I'll have 1. And then the boys asked, oh, who's in the room next to us? And I said, I am. They enjoyed that, though. And then as we went out for supper that night, and everything was, of course, very French. And thank goodness for Jonas. He kind of read the menu to us and whatever. His French came in handy. And the next day we got a photo, this photo here, and Anson was trying to ask a lady that went by if she could please take a picture of us. And she didn't understand. And then Jonas says, photo, s'il vous plaît. And that's all it took. And then she started speaking French to him. Did you have a conversation? I don't know. I don't understand anything she said. Oh, he didn't understand anything she said. So anyway, so that was our first day and overnight. And then we headed off to Camp Shiktehawk. Raise your hand, anybody. Okay. After we checked in, it was late, and so we just decided to get pizza that night. And also, since everything was kind of shut down, we were speaking to the director there of the camp, and you are not allowed to swim after dark, but they did allow us that night. So a few of us went on the dock and shone flashlights at all the others who went swimming. No, we didn't lose anybody. And there's a dam right here. And no, we didn't even lose anybody over that. It was good. It was a good first night. And here we are to install new foundations. And you know what? I'm going to give this to Ron, or Jim. Start with Ron. He can explain a little bit what we did with the old chapel.
The top left picture, there is a picture of the old chapel from this camp. And now this is a summer youth program, so this went on over 4 weeks, and we were the last week. So previously, other groups jacked this building up on one side only, and it was dug out with an excavator, and footings were poured. When we arrived, the wall forms were in place, and we had to do some extra bracing, and as Johnny mentioned earlier, he had to build these boxes for these future vents to vent the crawl space. And Johnny and Anson built these boxes. I don't think they realized what their purpose was for, but they built them as if they were going into Fort Knox. And then they had to be removed a couple of days later, which posed an even more of a challenge again. But it was one of the humorous parts of the trip. But we eventually poured the wall. They brought a concrete pump in and pumped the concrete. And there was an area right there on the bottom left. It's a slab where a fireplace is eventually going to sit. So we had to brace that up and finish forming that and prepping all that. So it was that was day one was doing all the prep work. Day two was pouring it. Day three was I think we were to strip the forms, and I think we exceeded some expectations. They thought it was going to take all day, and by lunch the forms were off, cleaned up, and we were sent off to other tasks, and so that's part of what I was involved, the bulk of it anyway.
Okay, so Donna, Talia, Megan, and myself were in charge of painting for most of the week. So we were painting, well, first we scraped all the paint off of their pool shed, and then we primed it and painted it, and then we also finished up a task that some of the other groups had worked on, which was this barn. We were doing the one side, so we just primed and painted all of that.
Okay, I guess, Anson, we probably should do that typical. Yeah. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, just of how our typical day, how it started. Get up, first of all, and then we had our devotional. We walked to the camp, and then we had our breakfast. And we had our breakfast with the other campers as well.
What time was getting up?
Well, breakfast was at 8. So they wanted to meet at 7, or shortly after 7, so the coordinators could go over what we were supposed to do that day and have our devotional, and then walk down to the building to have our breakfast. And it was a little bit of a walk, as you see the trail there, because we stayed up. That was actually an old motel that's up on a hill. And
Want me to show you a map of the church, of the site?
Sure. Okay. Yeah, you see where we were at the old motel, and then we would walk down, and then you can probably see where that bridge is there, and then that's where the dining hall was. Okay, and then where they went swimming was just kind of off to the side there, and then we had to walk up to the old chapel. It was quite a ways. Oh, there's the zip line. Went down there over the river. And when we were painting down by the pool. There was a little pool building there. Now, where you see the rope fence? That's where Brian and Jonas, there was like a ravine, like down, yeah, down to the water. And they did this rope fence, which you will see later. They had to drill holes in, was it 32 posts, Jonas, or something? And then pull the rope through. And then the pool where they went swimming, and then all those little cabins there, that's where the campers stayed in, kind of all beside there. And the barn, that's where we also painted the barn, which was also just think of our old arena here in Wellesley, the old arena. That's what this was like. Inside, they would put ice in there in the winter, and they actually had winter activities. And then that, where you see Shack in the Woods, that's where I think Jim and Sam, and also Ron and Dylan, had worked on putting a deck. and fixing that up. So everything was quite a ways to walk. And that's the shack right there. Yeah, they put that railing on. And we did do a little bit of trail cleanup as well, so that came in handy for our practice. And
after breakfast, we worked.
yeah, and we worked, and then we had our break and snack, which they were very good at getting to us. Coffee time, and then we worked some more. And then it's lunchtime. And as I said, we're eating with all the campers. Now, the campers were there from Sunday night only until Tuesday night because they're like 5 to 7-year-olds, so they had a shorter time at camp. And so, yeah, we were involved with them there, enjoying our meal, as you see through Jonas. And then there's some more work on the foundation. Break, snack time again in the afternoon. We get lots of breaks and snacks, which was good. They kept us well fed. But then we had to go out and work some more. And then supper time. Then clean up, volunteered to help in the kitchen. And then we could do some activities in the evening. And the Monday night we did the zip line because the counselors were still there on the Monday night. Or we could use the pool, or we could use the pond. And the end of the day, that's when we had our recap. And that's where we might have read the letters, you know, the ones from Judy Wagler. And there we had seen before was a painting. And on the barn, I think the scraping was done for us and most of the priming, but we had to paint that whole side and the front of it. The front and the one side had to be done. And that's the inside. So that does look like, you know, what our old arena would look like. And that's where the guys and girls were playing some basketball in there. And you know, they had tons of these little tiny flies. Tiny flies. In Saskatchewan, we were hit with enormous mosquitoes. Enormous mosquitoes. Here, they had these little tiny flies that were just all over you. And but we found that if you went inside, even though the windows are all open, they wouldn't get you in there. And we also found that when we had the van down by the pool, we opened the back of the van up, we stood underneath the back door, and they wouldn't get you. So we kind of found ways to beat these flies. But it was horrendous with the flies. But anyway.
There's that rope fence.
Yeah. And that's what, Jonas and Brian were working on that, and that's how the ravine goes down there. That's why they wanted a fence up. And And then another evening, we went to the Heartland covered bridge. So it's the world's longest covered bridge. And everybody walked across the bridge. All the youth went across first, and I think Ron went with them. But Anson, you stayed with us, didn't you? We started walking across, and then we saw an ice cream place before we went in, so Jim, Brian, myself, and Anson decided to turn around, and we went back to get ice cream before all the youth got back. And I thought, oh, well, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Ron's with them. But they were all waiting for us to come across. Meanwhile, we never did. Just because we wanted to get at the ice cream first, and because Jim was buying.
We told them it was closed.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, we might have. Jim bought us ice cream a couple of times. Just because he's so good-natured. Yeah, I don't know if I'll mention the jar. So then, after, we only stayed 4 days, the Monday to the Thursday, and Friday morning we had to leave because there was a family camp that was coming in Friday. which I didn't find out about until the week before we left. But anyways, it worked out because, we just came home one day early, so that was all right. So we left very early on the Friday morning. We were in the vehicles by 6:15 in the morning, which would have been 5:15 your time here, because there's an hour time change there. And everybody was, wide awake. Sam missed the first stop because you were sleeping. So anyway, very tired because it's a very full week to get everything done in 4 days instead of the 5 days this time. So, and which we got done what we were supposed to do. I called out a few days before we left for the trip to see what we would be doing, and they had said to me that the foundation will be finished and the chapel will be lifted back onto foundation, and then we will be doing the inside, the painting and the floors and stuff. But when we got there, that was not the case because the foundation was not completed. But it was really interesting watching them get a cement truck, backing it into where this building was and pouring the foundation. There's the cement truck there. And that's how they lifted it over.
So was the other half of the foundation already completed?
Yeah, there was, I think the other half was done previous, I'm not sure. It was a poured foundation, so we just matched up on the one side and just had to wrap it around the corners a wee bit, so. But I think we exceeded some expectations, like there was a project director and office manager from MDS, Dave and Anna Weeb. And then there was also a camp director, and the camp director on the Wednesday or Tuesday night, he left for vacation, so he left. And I don't think he expected us to get these supports or the temporary bracing out in the chapel back down on the foundation. And that also involved installing a lot of floor joists on the one end, about half of it on the one side didn't have floor joists yet. So those are all new floor joists that went in. That was all open when we poured. So those had to go in, and then the building lowered back on there. And I think we exceeded some expectations, because I don't think the director, when he comes back from vacation, I don't think he was expecting to see the progress that we had done. So all in all, I think we did a lot of work in the 4 days that we were there. So.
So how did this get hooked up with MDS? Do they sign up, different projects sign up?
I can explain
How does
that. MDS has sites all over the place, wherever there's a disaster. But every year they do a summer youth program. And MDS is broken into 5 categories. There's 4 in the U.S., 1 in Canada. So Canada is all one site, but then within Canada, it's broken up again in 6 divisions. BC, Alberta, I think Saskatchewan and Manitoba might be together, Ontario, and then the Maritime provinces are another site. So there's 6 divisions in total. The summer youth program rotates from province to province to province to all these different. So in 1 in 6 years, each region gets a crack at the summer youth program. So it happened to be in New Brunswick this year. So that's how that works.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a disaster that they...
No, it doesn't. It's not necessarily a disaster. I think on the summer youth program they tried to find places like I think one year there was a camp out in Saskatchewan where they did work at, and but they tend to do rebuild or help church camps, like something like Hidden Acres, or in this case it was out in New Brunswick then. So. But those are the kind of sites they try to do for the summer youth program.
I think there's around 28 churches that are involved, or 40 churches that are involved just running the camp, kind of like Hidden Acres where you have a few, churches together. Oh, this building here is the new chapel. And this building was donated by a gentleman, the entire chapel. And it's beautiful inside and out. So it was a complete donation, and they did a dedication for this chapel. And the gentleman that donated all the money for this, he was at that dedication, and
No, he was there 3 days before, and he passed away before the dedication.
I thought he passed away after the dedication. He was
I
there.
think they moved the dedication.
Oh, okay. So that's what they moved the dedication up, and then he passed away 3 days after the dedication. Then, so he got to see it anyway. Okay, do you guys have any more questions?
I think so.
Okay, we're going to explain the significance of a few things. You might have seen the red juice here. I'll leave that to Sam.
So that's was our favorite thing, was the juice. And it really tasted like candy. So we always was drinking that, and they had 10 pitchers out for us. And it was, it was the best, it was the juice. I don't know much more to say, but it was amazing. Yeah, we brought some home from New Brunswick. And yeah, they gave it to us actually.
Okay, and the life jacket, that just represents when they went into the river part. They had to wear life jackets when they did paddle boarding or went on the floaty. And that was, I guess, was that one of your favorites? The floaty?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, there you go. There they are. 2 on a paddleboard.
Even though it's only 4 feet of water.
Yeah, it's not very deep. Oh, and what happened to you, Jonas?
Sorry?
What happened to you? In the water?
Oh, I got hit by a leech.
Yeah. I'm sitting on the dock and I hear a little bit of a loud noise on the other end of the river there. And I guess Jonas got, as he says, hit by a leech. And the zip lining. As we mentioned, lots of walking.
Yeah, So on the very first day, the second, first day of work, I was bringing back a battery to get a new one because one died, and I accidentally stepped into a hornet's nest and got stung by 20 bees, and it really hurt.
And thank goodness I had read beforehand that he was not allergic to that. But
Yep.
Dylan.
Oh yeah, it was almost fatal.
Anyway. The antibite. Yep, that's the dining hall. There's some motel rooms. There was 2 to a room. Some of them 1. Yeah, the lucky ones.
How was your weather?
It was sometimes amazing and sometimes not. No, there was a rainy day. Wasn't there?
I think it rained 10 minutes one evening,
Yeah.
and a little bit on the way.
Yeah, every day it was like really nice out. It was cooler some mornings, but that was okay, and it was pretty hot during the day. But I think on the last night we were there, potentially, it rained like the entire night. But luckily the next day we weren't. Do you want to say something?
No, I'm just agreeing.
Okay. Oh yeah, and sometimes we also had to wait to paint because of the like moisture, and humidity. Yeah.
Dylan wants to say something. But he does. Oh, it was amazing. You suck.
So what do the campers stay in when they have campers there? Are they in tents or?
I think they're in
Or-
They're all in cabins.
Oh, okay. All cabins.
Too bad we didn't get a picture of that.
There's like 13 or 15 cabins. There's quite a few. There might be more because some of them were, when they built the new chapel, they had to relocate some cabins. So suddenly there's cabin 10 and cabin 10A and cabin 10B because they put them side by side. So there might be more than what we realized.
They all had air conditioners. We did not, but they all had air conditioners. We didn't need them.
Found a picture of the cabins, dining hall.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes during the week, it was to beat the heat, we'd jump into the new chapel because it was air conditioned. So you'd stand in there for 10, 15 minutes and just recoup.
Got a picture of the dining hall when the camp was active, with all the kids joining us.
Oh, yeah.
What denomination is this under this camp?
Baptist.
40 different.
Baptist,
Baptist?
yeah.
Okay.
Last night at camp, they had ice cream for the little ones. Was our little ones not in there?
They said we could come up. They could come up.
That's Talia and Marina trying to escape. There, found a picture of one of our rooms.
Got time for John. Having a fry. See, these ones would be cool.
You want to talk about your parents? Makes sense. I can only remember.
Now you have to put Jonas to work at home. Just give him a drill. Well, Brian supervised, but I'll let you think about that.
In the background on that skid is that pile of, in the background on the skid's that pile of rope that got pulled through there. What is that thing, about 300-400 feet long or something?
Oh, yeah, because there was about 10 feet apart and there was 32 of them. So
Yeah, yeah.
About 300 feet.
Yeah. Well, 300 feet plus, you did it twice, so
Yeah.
it's probably more like 600.
Yeah, true. Might have been a kilometer of rope. I don't know. The finished product. Look at the caps. girls to help pull the rope in, the boys couldn't do it. They had it pulled in no time. They just ripped through there like mad. It was awesome. Back to painting now. You want to talk about painting?
So the one day we decided to switch it up a bit, and the boys decided they were going to try and paint. And for the most part, they did okay. But I have to say, we had to paint over a few parts again.
It's amazing because now these guys have all these new skills. So I suggest all the parents can put them to work now. And on the last day, the Thursday, no, that's where they're pulling forms out there, that trailer had to be packed up. And because there was somebody from Nova Scotia that drove over, Benny Penner, to pick up the trailer on the Thursday night and take it back to Nova Scotia. So that had to be all packed up, so everything we had out. And everybody was pretty much done work by Thursday, early afternoon, except for the painters. We were painting right till the end of the afternoon, but all these guys had to pack up this trailer.
Just noticed that my daughter had more paint on her than the buildings though.
Who cooked for you when the campers were gone?
Same cooks, they stayed.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
They brought cooks in for us.
Yeah,
Oh,
that-
sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Last
right.
2
We had our
days.
own cooks at that point. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so they brought in a couple of cooks when everybody else had left, just for us. And we were eating camp food, which, chicken fingers and whatever else, French fries, whatever the campers were eating. And then the first day that the other two cooks came, we had a roast beef dinner for lunch. Yes.
No more dino-shaped chicken fingers.
Yeah.
They were good too. There's one on the plate.
Yeah.
This one I didn't tell these no.
And also, since the cooks were just cooking for our group, which was about 12 people, 14 with the coordinators, they usually went for a swim in the pool in the afternoons. Well, I tried to get the lock open, which when the director gave me the combination to this lock, because everything was locked up, the pool, and when you went down to like the pond to get the life jackets, that was all locked up. So I had the combination. So the first time I opened either one, I got it open. But then the one day, the cooks were trying to get in, and they could not get the combination. They just could not do it. And so a few of us, had to go at it, and nobody could get this combination. So Brian and Jonas took off the gate to get into the pool, took it, the latch, and took it off so they could go in and have a swim. And then was it before or when you put it back on? Yeah, and then Sam comes along and to try the lock, the combination, and he gets it the first try.
You had to push up, not pull down.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah. So anyway, Our youth are very smart, you know.
Oh, at the
Having a break, yeah.
chapel. Steps to the chapel.
Are there any other questions before we close here?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun.
And by plane.
And yes.
Sorry, who had asked that? Dan?
I don't really have a
Coming
question.
along.
I just wanted to say, Donna and Brian, thank you, because that was a lot of work. I can't even imagine how getting all these boys corralled. So thank you. You gave them a really good experience, and they really enjoyed it. So it's a lot of work. Thank you.
Well, we certainly enjoyed them, that's for sure. They make life interesting. Thanks again.